You're about to see a podcast with someone who came to me because she was referred by her friend who coached with me, who dealt with all her skeletons in the closet, learned how to feel the feels, learned how to connect with a little you inside of her closed heart and then open heart, then met the one, got married, all the things. So she referred a client who you're about to meet on a podcast. And I'm reflecting on my career, I guess we could say. God, I'm glad I just keep doing the work. You just never know how the work will impact someone and their community, their lives, their future. It blows me away, the blessing, because I haven't even hugged that first client before. I've known her for 7 years now or something? But her friend that signed up for coaching, who you're about to see in this podcast, Samantha, did come to the retreat in Costa Rica this past month. And I got to hug her and play with her and zip line with her and catamaran with her and cry with her and laugh with her and all the things we do at a retreat. And so I'm reflecting on how grateful I am that I never give up. I keep evolving. I'm also remembering about the time when that past client was working with me. She learned of me through an older program that is not available anymore because I'm evolving. It was called Heart Splayed Wide Open. And at that time, I think I'd only developed 5 Allana Pratt method processes. Now I have 10. And the work works. And I just keep evolving. And as I do, I make my processes even better. So now I'm redoing this, my online curriculum again, a 7-week program again. And this time it's called Become the One Mastery. And then the second one's going to be Find the One or Awaken the One Mastery. We have a Become the One intro program as well. But in terms of this Become the One Mastery, I'll be doing 5 of my 10 Allana Pratt method processes. And then the Find the One or Awaken the One, I'm going to be doing 5 of my Allana Pratt method processes. And I'm going to be able to do this in a 7-week program online with people. And so it's like a short, intense quantum leap in what it takes to become the one you need to be to then be at the vibration to find the one. So many times we're here and we want somebody here, but that's not a vibrational fit. That's not even scientifically possible. We need to become who we want to be so that we can then match, meet, attract, vibrate, allure, whatever word we want to use, our ideal partner, which is exactly what Samantha's friend did. And she attracted Nick, and now they're married, and all is amazing. So as you watch this podcast, 2 things. One, I want you to also go to our site, allanapratt.com, and check out our Become the One Mastery. If you haven't signed up for my newsletter, that would be amazing too. You can do that at the very bottom of my website, allanapratt.com. So you can receive video newsletters every single week. Stuff that doesn't go out on YouTube, doesn't go out on anywhere, just only the real behind the scenes world if you're in the newsletter group. But this Become the One Mastery, I really recommend you do. Otherwise, you need to sign up for a whole year to coach with me. This is a way to have me live for 7 weeks and go through my very amazing, it's taken me like 20 years to develop these processes, these Allana Pratt method processes. We'll be able to do this together. So I encourage you to sign up and join me on this process program. And as you watch this podcast with Samantha, to really get a sense of, oh my God, this is what's possible. This is what's possible when you do the work and you connect in with your sweet little you on the inside. Enjoy. Welcome to Intimate Conversations. Become the one. Intimacy is an inside job. Hello, delicious people, and welcome to another episode of Intimate Conversations. Here we are, season 12. And this month we are talking about one of my Allana Pratt method processes, Little You. And I have the honor and pleasure and delight of bringing to you one of my favorite delicious clients. Her name is Samantha, and she is a true New Yorker at heart. And she currently calls Jersey City her home. And she's often found snuggled up with Gigi. Is Gigi there in the back or somewhere?
She's sleeping.
Maybe she's sleeping. Okay, awesome. Her adorable 4-year-old boxer. And she has a passion for, Gigi probably and Samantha, have a passion for exploring local parks, especially, how do you say that?
Untermeyer.
Say it again.
Untermeyer Gardens.
Untermeyer Gardens, thank you, in her hometown of Yonkers. And professionally, she's deeply dedicated to her role as a fundraiser, advocating for causes that champion equity, justice, and compassion. We'll tell you about her new amazing job here in a minute. And when she's not busy saving the world, you'll find Samantha on the tennis court, her yoga mat, or simply enjoying the great outdoors. And with a zest for life, a strong connection to her community, and a mission to spread positivity, Samantha is all about living her best life and inspiring those around her. I love your bio. Is that on
Thank
your
you.
dating profile too? No?
It is not. I'm taking a little
Oh,
hiatus from that.
I totally understand. So first, I love you. Thank you so much for connecting with me and allowing your journey, our journey together, to inspire others, hopefully. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Um,
Thanks so much for having me.
you're welcome. So let's tell them how you found me and why you decided to, yeah, begin this journey. Like what was going on in your life and why did you say yes?
Sure. I found you through a dear friend and a former client of yours, and we were actually getting together to watch Brene Brown's TV show on feelings. I forget
Yeah.
what book she had written, but we were kind of having a little dinner party, having some wine, having some food, and talking about the book and talking about how we both kind of grew up not really fully aware of our feelings and that there's so much depth instead of just like sad or happy or the simple ones that we all kind
Right.
of know. And so Brene Brown is really the avenue to have that honest conversation with a friend. And she had told me that she worked with you and that she had had such an amazing experience working with you that enabled her to actually meet her partner, first be her best self and second meet her partner.
Yeah.
And they're now happily married.
Yeah.
So it's incredible. And it just inspired me to really dive into this work more fully and really commit to it. And so I reached out to you and I've been working with you now for almost 2 years. And it's been an incredible, incredible journey.
Oh, thank you, sister. It sure has. It sure has. We just got to spend time in Costa Rica at the latest retreat. We'll talk about that in a second. I'd love your feedback. Um, what was it like when you first came into the coaching situation? Like we had privates, but you're also in a group, which when you're starting to be vulnerable, it's hard enough to do that just with one person, let alone a group of people. What was it like for you in the beginning? You can totally tell me the truth if you were terrified or you sucked or you were like, wow, this is safer than I thought. Like, what was it honestly like?
Yeah, I think that I'm somebody who was having a little bit of a hard time with it. I would have been somebody who was having a hard time with it regardless. So I think one-on-one felt way more comfortable to me. And at this point in my life, I was really not trying to do the comfortable thing. I was actively trying to do the hard thing.
Oh, good for
And
you.
the group setting, I think, while it was intimidating at first, I think the first call you did an amazing job of kind of setting the tone for what this community is like. And
Mm.
it's really no bullshit. And so I remember I had come in a place where I was really spiritually bypassing. I was pretending everything was fine, but it very clearly wasn't, which is why I had sought you out.
Uh-huh.
And you just looked at me and you said, stop lying to yourself. And that was really where we set the tone of like, we're not going to lie to ourselves
Yeah.
anymore. It's not
Yeah.
fine. Let's actually feel what we're feeling. And I think it took me a while to even get comfortable with that concept, never mind start doing it. But
Yeah.
the benefit of the group is that other people have been doing this longer than you. And so they're modeling it for you and they're ahead of you, or, people come in a couple weeks behind you and then you feel like you're ahead of them and like showing you the way. And so it just was really, really cool. And I think, you talk about blind spots a lot. And when you're with the group dynamic, people are going to talk about things that maybe is your blind spot and you didn't even know you should be talking about it. And
Mm.
so I think it helps facilitate quicker, if that's
Mm.
even, I don't know that there's ever an end, but you start to see other areas that you should be working on through the group dynamic.
Mm. I love it. When you said that, I got this big rush of energy through. So whenever that happens to me, I'm like, oh, we should go deeper there. So what was one of your first blind spots that you didn't know you had that was revealed in this program?
I think a big one that stuck out with me was actually during one of the dyad nights, and it
Mhm.
was tell me about a time that you've hurt someone.
Mm.
And I could not answer that question. And it
Because,
clearly it isn't true, right? Like obviously I've hurt people, but I think what I realized was that I've been people pleasing so hard
yeah.
that it was challenging for me to think of a time where I didn't show up for people in the way that they needed or wanted. But I could think of a million times that I didn't show up for myself the way that I
Mm,
needed or wanted.
mm,
And that
mm,
wasn't the way the question was phrased. So I was having a very challenging time answering it. And I think whoever I was speaking to answered it in a way that was like very revelatory to me,
mm,
that that's what was going on, and showed me a lot of grace in that, I couldn't really answer it.
mm. Wow, that's beautiful.
Mhm.
My experience, when we've hurt somebody, it develops like self-forgiveness. And my blind spot was I had no idea how harshly unrealistic standards and self-loathing and unwillingness to forgive and just like bypass all of that. What did you begin to feel when you started to dive deeper into your humanity?
Yeah, I think that I started to really address the ways in which I wasn't showing up for myself, or I wasn't prioritizing myself,
Mm,
and maybe hadn't ever.
mm.
And really finding that self-forgiveness. I had a really profound moment. I think it was like, how many weeks do you send the curriculum for? 13 or something?
Yeah, I
I think it
can't
was like
remember.
week 10 before I was having my first one-on-one with you. And I was like, oh my God, I have skipped a few weeks. I gotta like really crash course here. So I spent all morning doing like curriculum after curriculum so I'd be
Do your
prepared for
homework.
a one-on-one, like the good student I am. And that actually really accelerated a
Mm,
lot of what I was diving into and finding. And it just was like the concentrated effort there. And I remember so clearly that morning that I just saw, I could actually physically see like the multiple versions of me that were like, I'm laying down, like this is it. And they
mm,
were looking at me over here trying so hard to keep it together. And they were like, come, rest, like put it
mm,
down, rest with us.
mm.
And it was so beautiful. And I just like joined in with all the different versions of me and laid down. And it
Wow.
was so nice. And there was something like really profound that came through around forgiving myself for all of the versions of me that I thought I had to be. And I don't need to do it. I don't need to be it. I don't need to wear these masks. I can just be exactly who I am right now. And that's okay.
Mm, you're enough. You're
Right.
actually enough. Yeah, I love this. With the concept of little you, when I first developed this, now I've got my 10 Allana Pratt method processes. But when I first started to develop this inner relationship with myself, I still had a strategy. Like I would go in, I would feel my feelings, but there would always be an in order to. So I'll deal with you being sad so that we can be happy. I'll deal with you being mad so that we can get back into control. Like I had all these agendas. And so my little you was like, oh, hell no. You don't love me. You don't care. You're manipulating me so we can look good, be safe, get the guy, get the client. There's all these agendas, right? Um, and so then I changed it to the concept where you go in and you connect with your little you who's feeling however she or he is. But the idea is you throw away the key. You don't go in there to ever get out. You go in there to, how can I love you as you are, even if you never change forever? That's a whole other level. That requires unconditional love. That requires you being able to have compassion, allowance. Maybe you don't love it, but you stop separation with self and you start building this secure attachment with self. And then through grace, because nobody wants to stay sad forever or angry forever, but they've been acknowledged, they've been honored. And so now that they know that you don't have an agenda and you actually care for realsies, the evolution just magically begins to arise and unfold and grow. Um, that's why I did it, how I did it. What was it like for you to do the little you process first? And there's lots of little yous, I think, inside of us. But yeah, how was that for you? And how is it now? How's it served you?
Yeah, I think, little you I've been doing in conjunction with you and in conjunction with a different meditation program as well. So I'm
Uh-huh.
also, you know, deeply meditating with little you as well. So not only am I doing worksheets, with you or talking to little you, however it is that she wants to be heard, or
Mm-hmm.
talking at her or talking to her or listening to her, you have different modalities of how you play with that. And I think they're
Mm-hmm.
all fascinating. And I was also doing it in this meditation program. So I was really getting ingrained in it and getting familiar with her. And I think part of it was really showing up for myself. And so many years I had not done that. So even the fact that I was doing this every day, showing up and going through a different scenario, going through something that's triggering me now and asking little me, when have you felt this way before? When have I ignored you before?
Mm, mm,
And what did you need then that I
mm.
can give you now? And so there's kind of this reparenting aspect of it, which
Yes.
nothing to do with your parents, but it's just how can you be the source of the comfort and the compassion and actually see, hear, and validate that little girl inside of you that wanted something or needed something. And
Yeah.
instead of actually seeing that, has built this wall of, shame or guilt
Yeah.
around what maybe she went through and just kind of pushed it away. And
Yeah.
that little girl wants to be seen and she wants to play. She
Yeah.
wants to play and she doesn't want to be in this wall anymore.
No. Yeah. How did the concept of little you, remember when you, to me, it was a very profound call when you shared what you really want, like you're amazing at your job and you choose to
Mm.
be a mother and be married, right? And you're obviously the mother in you is not a child, it's a mother, but there's an idea of, oh, I get to have what I want. I get to ask for what I want. I get to speak up. I get to advocate for myself. How did the little you process support that revelation and declaration?
Yeah, I think that often speaking to little you, she talks or she says things in a way that are really simple, like this doesn't feel good,
Yeah.
or I don't want that, right?
Yeah.
Like that's how
Yeah.
you know that this is who's talking to you. You're not in your head anymore.
Yes.
So you're not
Yes.
over analyzing this, you're not overthinking it, you're not rationalizing it, you're not justifying it. It is
Mm,
just a simple no or yes. And I think you
mm,
also teach us that, does it feel good? Does it not feel good? Listen to your body. And I think
yeah. Yeah.
oftentimes little you is speaking to you in that way.
Mm,
And I think what I was feeling called to, or my intuition was calling to me to work with kids. And I've been a fundraiser for years. I've worked in different pediatrics arenas, and I was looking for what's the next stage of my career and where do I want to go. And I thought that the call was really to work exclusively at a children's hospital, of which there are,
mm,
a few great ones that I was looking at and interviewed at and toyed around with. And then I had this intense moment of clarity where I
yeah.
just kind of woke up and I felt you don't want to work with kids. You want to be a mom. And really being able to claim it for her, for me,
Yeah.
and
Oh my
not
gosh, shivers.
try to, yeah, and really not try to uh, get it in another way or in a way that's less than what I actually want. And I
Yeah.
think that's what I was trying to do because as a single person, it feels like I can't become the mother that I want to be, right? Because I do want a partner. It's not something I want to do on my own.
Yeah.
That's my truth. That's what I'm looking for. And I'm looking for a partner to do this with. And,
Yeah.
I think that felt really disempowering to me
Mm,
for a long time. And I think that was the hesitation to claiming it. And I
because
think
you
the
didn't know the how.
Right. I didn't know the how. And I
Yeah.
think, what you were saying, it was, we're doing this to get this. And this was probably the first moment in my life where I just said, we're doing this.
Mhm.
And so it is, and
Yes.
how it comes to me is how it comes to me. But the first step is claiming
Mhm.
the desire. And that's what I did.
You're so fucking amazing. I love this. Yeah. I want to go in two directions from this. I want to go over to the retreat where there was the little you exercise. And then I want to go over and how that changed your dating life when you made that declaration. So let's go to Costa Rica a month ago or so. Um,
Sure.
there was that little you exercise, I think on one of the last days. And you were laughing your ass off with Brandy. You guys were having so much fun with it. Tell us about that little you exercise and why it
Yeah,
worked.
I think that little you exercise was important because part of what I realized in that was really in forgiving yourself. So
Mm,
one piece that came up there was really forgiving myself for all the ways that I've let fear
mm,
hold me back
mm,
from what I actually want
mm.
and what would have or could have or will bring me joy. And that I'm not in that place anymore and that I'm stepping through that fear because I know what's possible on the other side. And so just finding the forgiveness for the version of me that, in the past wasn't doing that and addressing it.
Yeah, beautiful. The feedback I got from a lot of people, it's one thing to take the time to slow down and listen to what little you is saying, write down what you believe, little you is saying, but it's a whole other thing to have it read to you as if you are little you and receiving what you've always wanted to hear from yourself, like to be
Right.
both parts, big you and little you. What was the receiving as little you, these words of honor, forgiveness, affirmation, what have you?
I think it was really nice to hear it and to be on the receiving side of it instead of the person who feels like they're always kind of giving to little you. But it was
Mm-hmm.
nice to be vulnerable, actually say what I felt. I didn't know somebody else was going to read this. Apparently,
Right.
other people had an inkling, but I did not.
Your first retreat,
So
it's fine. You'll
yeah, and
you'll
even
just
under the auspices of, oh, I might have to read this out loud, something you had said in that was tell me something you actually really want that you may be too embarrassed to ask for. I think that was your phrasing or however you phrased it.
yeah.
And I almost didn't actually write what I really want because I was prejudging
Uh,
myself. And
Yeah.
so I was like, the whole point of this is to not do that. And I had had a conversation with someone like a week or a month before about what it was that I actually wanted. And I was really kind of shot down. And so you learn like, oh, that wasn't safe. It wasn't safe to do that, but it just wasn't safe with that person. And that
Right.
really has nothing to do with me or what I want. And I'm not going to let that kind of feedback inhibit me anymore.
Mm. Wow, this is great because a lot of times in the dating world, we get rejected. But if we don't reject ourselves, it's a game changer. So when we have this relationship with little you, not that we love it, but okay, but I will never forsake little you. I love that. Do you want to share what you really wanted on the podcast
Yeah,
with
absolutely. So I
great,
think
awesome.
part of this exercise for me anyway, or like asking little you, like, what do you actually want was to dream bigger. And I
Mm,
think, people tell you this all the time, but we often really limit what we're capable of. And
yeah.
I'm somebody who's dedicated her life to service. Like I want to have an impact. That's what motivates me.
Mhm.
And when I think about what I actually really want and when I do these future scenarios, it's really being recognized for that work and being honored for my dedication to service. And so
Yeah.
the Presidential Medal of Freedom, Allana, is what I want. But it's not because of the recognition. I don't want it from an egoic place.
Yeah.
I want it because I want my work and my life to be that meaningful, that that's the kind of impact I'm having in the world. So whether or not I get it or I don't get it, that's not the point. The point is like this is what's driving me
Yes.
and I'm recognizing that, acknowledging it
Mm.
and putting it out there as something
Mm.
that would be absolutely amazing for my life to have that kind of meaning.
Wow. Okay, let's dive deeper here. This is really amazing. So if you don't ask, you're dishonoring your deepest desires and truth. You're also not attached. It's not an ego thing. You don't have to have it, and you're not going to wait to honor yourself or be happy until you get it. So it's really like you want the mirror reflection of your greatest value being seen almost like to yourself.
Yeah.
So so the outside and the inside are one.
Yeah.
That is so brave and beautiful and elegant, just like you. I freaking love this. I wasn't sure what you were going to say, so this is great.
I know
This,
it's kind of surprising, isn't it?
yeah. Well, in mine, I think I put off the docu-series, beginning the docu-series. Well, I did for decades, on some level because I think I needed to get to a level of mastery in my work and my business. But most of all, I was ashamed to say I wanted it. Oh, you're just all your ego. You want to be a TV star and all the rest of it. I choose to have what happens in our groups happen publicly so that all those people can be uplifted. Like I know in our group, and this was my own ego when I first started, I was sure that my private sessions were so much more powerful than the group sessions because after all it's all about me. And then I started group sessions and at the end I often ask something like, what are you most grateful for? Or where'd you get the most value or something? And I was so ready. They were going to say, well, when you said, and I'm like, oh, it's when Samantha said so-and-so to Deidre. And I'm like, oh, and I realized that we're stronger together. We're better together. We learn from one another. We learn exponentially from one another. And sometimes when I'm talking directly to you, it's a lot, but the person right beside isn't getting that direct coaching, so they can actually surrender and open even more than they could in a private call. It blew my mind. It humbled me big time. So my desire is that could we take that template of 365 days to deeper love and show the world what this community is all about, what working with others is all about, what doing this little you work is all about.
Yeah, and
So
I
thank
think,
you.
taking it back to little you, if my niece said to me she wants a Presidential Medal of Freedom, I'd be like, yes, what are we going to do to get there? There would
Right.
be no part of me
That
that
would
would
question.
ever judge the child
Right,
for that
right.
expression of desire. And so
Yeah.
I think that's again a practice of where can I take that and not do that to myself, or, be meeting myself with the same level of compassion and understanding that and encouragement that I would to an actual child.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I love this. I love this. Um, Not that little you is dating, but the idea of listening to, no, I'm ready to be a mother, and then how that's affected your dating world. Like, how has your dating evolved over the last almost 2 years since doing this work?
Yeah, I think that what I've found is really my voice and my honoring of little you. And does this feel good?
Hmm.
Is this person really looking out for you? Those kinds of questions. And,
Hmm.
where can you do that for yourself first? And so there's a lot of me sitting in the driver's seat of, it doesn't matter if you like me or not, don't like me. I love me. And I'm
Nice.
figuring out if I like you, So I think that's a really empowering seat to sit in. And
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
really being able to set boundaries and set expectations and be really honest about what I want and what I need and what I'm actually feeling in the moment, and not feeling like I have to walk on eggshells because of how they might react to how I'm actually feeling. And,
Mm.
if I say this, maybe he's going to leave or he's going to walk away. And I'm no longer in that place. I
Mm.
feel
Mm.
upset today, and I feel upset because maybe it's something that you did. And that's not to blame you or to criticize you, but that is for your awareness
Mm.
of where I am and how your behavior is affecting me.
Hmm.
And so that's the conversation I'm really not afraid to have anymore.
Wow.
Yeah, and I
And
think it's just bringing in a different caliber of people who are really meeting me where I am, and
yeah,
at the vibration and honoring of myself that I'm demanding now.
yeah,
And
yeah.
so, I'm meeting incredible people, and we're seeing where things go.
Wow. This is amazing. How soon, and I want to bring in feminine energy, sacred sexuality, like as we do, not necessarily little you work, but again, when we listen to our feelings, masculine, we're more in our head, directional, outcome driven. Feminine to me is down more in allowance and receptivity, not always of what we desire, but we're going to burn. We're going to rise like a phoenix. We're going to ask, and we have the capacity to know we're worthy and receive it. So how has your, I mean, you're clearly drop dead gorgeous, but how has your joy of being a woman shifted by doing this intimacy work, or your alluring capacity to invite? um how, like, do you speak different? Do you text different? Do you flirt different? Like, what's happened
Yeah,
there?
I think so. I think in the past, maybe I was more, critical. And that could have come off as a little harsh, or, I have a very low tolerance for bullshit. So in the past, I would walk,
Yeah.
it's not enough, I'm out. And
Right.
maybe a little bit fast, maybe in a way that was a little bit protective. And
Thank
I don't have that protectiveness anymore. I know
you.
I have my own back regardless
Mm.
of how the situation is going to play out. So it's you, or it's someone better, or it's someone who can do more. So, that's kind of the seed of where I'm at now.
I freaking
And
love
I
this.
think, the femininity piece of that is also the more I can honor myself, the more I can honor him. And
Totally.
I've been doing that way more generously, freely, and really from my heart. I think, this connection with little you it kind of sits in your heart. And I think I've
Mhm.
been really radiating that out. And, we did that exercise and at the retreat where people tell you what it is that they believe or that they love about you. And everybody was like, you're radiating love, or you're radiating kindness, you're brilliance, like using a lot of beautiful imagery and words to describe
Mm.
me. And I think that there's this interplay between like the feminine and the little you that is actually very joyful in me and
Yeah.
wants to play, and how that play looks is on a continuum. And there's some spicier versions of that play, and I like to be in that energy, and I want to meet
Yeah.
someone who can really take all of that,
Yes.
and not feel like, for me, like it's too much. I want to, meet someone who can fully see me and adore me and cherish me and take it all in.
Absolutely. And I just hope you ask me to marry you one day. Just putting that out there now. I was very upset that Margaret did it. No, I'm just teasing, but that's okay. I'm soothing my wounds. Um, what was it like to be at the retreat with all those couples? Is it
It was
something that
beautiful.
desire in a partner? Like, okay, we just met, but now it's not like we're done. You saw like there's bumps. So what is your desire for doing this kind of work in partnership over the long term?
Yeah, I think over the past 2 years, I've done obviously a lot of professional development and growth, and I'm in a really good place. And I think there comes a time where a partner is going to be the next evolution of that. And that's what
Yeah.
I'm looking for. I'm looking for someone that wants to learn and grow and
Mhm.
continue to be on this path with me. And it's not linear, it's not perfect, and
Yeah.
it can be ugly. And I think, the quicker you can get back to, okay, I've slipped off here. That wasn't my best moment. Let me
Mm.
apologize
Yeah.
and forgive me, and you move on. And I think there's humanity in that, right? And I
Yeah.
think the more you can allow that in yourself, and then you can allow that in your partner, and you can really kind of come out a little bit stronger. And that's what I'm experiencing now is, you hit a bump, and instead of fearing like this is the end of the world, it's like this is just a step to take us deeper into this relationship if we want it to be that. And
Yeah.
I think both parties need to want it to be that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
really being able to be open about communicating around that. And then I think what I saw and witnessed in terms of the couples was, there was 4 or 5 couples, and everybody's in a different states of their relationships. I've been dating for a while and got engaged on the trip, which was absolutely amazing and such an
Yes.
incredible part to be a part of. And then there was couples who'd been married for years, and it wasn't always perfect. And they're finding each other now after years of separation. And
Yeah.
what does that look like, right? And it's beautiful, and it's raw, and it's it's the hardest work you can do. And I think
Yeah.
to be in that with these people and to witness it and also support them, I
Yeah.
think is the key. I think being in a supportive community and knowing that these 10 other people in the room have your back and are there as a
Mhm.
safe space and container for you to show up as the best version of yourself, and really want you to be that, and will do what they can to help you get there.
Mm, mm. Thank you. I never thought to ask you this till this very second, but I'm going to. You witnessed me over the last couple of years. So you witnessed me when that last relationship ended in, criminal assault and him pleading guilty. And me really being vulnerable as a leader, a vulnerable leader. You've watched me evolve all the way to meeting Scott coming to the retreat. Scott's now in the inner circle. I'm not his coach. He's going to get another coach. But I never dreamed that I could heal in front of people and not be, oh, well, you're a hot mess. Why am I coaching with you? In fact, people feel like, oh, if you can grow too, it's safe for me to be that vulnerable and grow too. Anything's possible. Never give up on love. And then welcoming and seeing me. I mean, it was your first retreat, so you haven't seen me when it's just Allana and when I have a partner. But in all honesty, what's it been like to watch my journey over the last 2 years and learn
Yeah,
from
it's
someone who's
been
deeply human?
I think it's inspiring, and I think it,
Mm.
it builds trust. And I think, look, we talk about this all the time in the business and the corporate environment. In order to be a good leader, you have to be transparent, you have to be honest, you have to be humble, you have to
Yeah.
find your own humility. And I think that's all well and fine because it's corporate. And that's great and that's admirable. But we're talking about real stuff here, and people do
Yeah.
not want to dip their toes in that. And there's a lot of shame and a lot of guilt and
Yeah.
a lot of pressure when it's your business, of course.
Yeah.
But I think the fact that you are so vulnerable and so open with all of us really makes us feel like we can trust you more. You're not somebody who hasn't also felt it or also been through it. And
Yeah.
I think it also empowers all of us to go out and play that role for our friends and our family and in our community to the best of our ability. We're not trained, we don't know all the methods, but where you can show up and be helpful to other people and be a leader and inspire them to, find little you. I think that I've
Yeah.
tried to do that, at least with my friends. And, they
Uh-huh.
call me and they're like, I asked myself today, what would little you do? And,
Uh,
I have the little picture of little you on my desk or on the background of my phone now. And I look at her and I talk to her. And so there's so many different ways that, you showing up as who you are helps us to really show up as who we are in a more honest and authentic way.
oh, I am so grateful. Um, Thank you for that. It's my intention to make it safe for everyone to be human, and I'm totally willing to go first. So thank you. Can I show them your picture of little you?
You can.
Okay, let me do my little screen share here. I probably could have just asked the editor to can you see you?
I can see
You're so
me.
gorgeous. Oh,
I
you're
can see
adorable.
me.
I love this. I love this. How old were you and where were you and why did you
Yeah.
choose this photo?
I don't know. I think I look like I'm like 3.5. I love that I'm holding flowers. I think I have this really um, strong connection to earth and grounding. And I just love that there's so much greenery in this photo. And I'm wearing a flower dress. And I just look
I
so sweet.
know you're adorable. Oh, that's gonna be like little Samantha's running around one day.
Yeah, and you would
Um,
never say anything bad to that little sweet angel. So, we have to treat her with the kindness that she's demanding there.
yeah, and that she deserves. Yeah. Um, this is mine. I
Oh,
look at those
yeah.
bangs. My goodness.
How old are you there? Young.
Probably it says December 71 and I was born January of 70. So a little bit over a year. And there was a truck that came into the driveway and in the back of the truck was this studio and I remember getting put up into the truck and shutting the door and all the lights came on and I was like, "Oh, I like this. This is fun." Flash forward, in my 20s modeling and all the rest of it, but I quite enjoyed that moment.
I
Yeah,
love it.
to be the star, to shine.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And the other
Uh,
thing I'll say about Little You too that I think is interesting, and I heard it on a podcast and I was like, that resonated with me and I find it helpful,
yeah.
is kind of when you're talking to Little You, talk to them as if there actually was this voice in their head at the time that it was occurring. And so this sense of like that the adult me has been with my little you this whole
Mm,
time.
mm,
And that was what helped her get through it, whether she knew it or not. And so there's this real
mm,
merging of timelines that
mm,
actually brings
mm,
me a lot of comfort to think, okay, I was there with this version of me, whether I knew
mm,
it or not. And what I'm saying right now, she may actually be listening to in this moment.
mm, This
And
is
maybe that
brilliant.
changes something. Maybe it doesn't, but I find it incredibly comforting. And
Yeah,
so I will play with that as well.
I like this. My experience is that there is no time. That's a
Mhm.
construct. And so when I can be with all the versions of little me, even 5 minutes ago, little me, um, and I go right for the body. Where is she? She can't speak. Her heart is closed. She's nervous. Her vagina's clenched. Her shoulders are up, like wherever it is in my body. And I literally touch her. I got you. I hear you. Tell me more. Then that area begins to integrate the conversation, the images, image, thought, emotion, body, sensation, like all the elements merge. And I love adding the timelessness that I am here now. I was there then. There is no then and now, past or
Mhm.
present, or past or future. There's just the now. And then we just
Mhm.
keep bringing and bringing and bringing all of them into the now. To me,
Mhm.
that's the communion that's actually possible in the actual little you process, which I'm so thrilled. I don't know if you know this. I'm doing a Become the One Mastery and a Find the One or Awaken the One Mastery. And each of them, I'm going to be going through 5 of my Allana Pratt method processes. And all of my clients, like you, are going to receive these courses complimentary as my gift. So there'll be me taking you through it live, but also an audio version of it. And in it, there is a moment when you sit and you say, I'm willing to be with you. It's an honor to be with you for eternity. You don't ever need to change. I love you exactly as you are. Something shifts, something comes home into oneness, something moves into communion where It's not this outside separate thing that we're trying to soothe, which is better than hitting them with a 2x4. But when there's nowhere to go and nothing to change, and there's just, let's just be with what's real, everything is resolved, integrated.
Mm-hmm.
So anyways, just wanted to let you know that. So we
That's
can
amazing. Thank
go
you.
through these processes more this next year. Yeah. This has been great. This has been amazing. I've loved watching you. Oh, we should say, I also need to honor you that I'm with my boyfriend because of you. Do you want to tell them that moment? Like, why were you inspired? That, I mean, you gave me a taste of my own medicine, sister, and it worked.
Yeah, I think I was inspired because I'm someone who can kind of be a little bit introverted, a little bit sit at home, a little bit maybe sometimes avoidant. And
Yes.
so I was, kind of waiting for my guy to walk into my living room, right, or find me on the couch. And I needed to stop doing that. So I
Yeah.
decided to set myself up on a 15 first date challenge, which commenced last year. And I think I was probably like midway through. And part of what I was finding inspiring was encouraging others to do it. So I think I encouraged my physical therapist to do it, or I was calling it challenging. I challenge you to join me in the challenge, right? And so I
Yeah.
said it to you. Immediately, you were like, I don't know where I'm going to live. I don't have excuse, excuse, excuse. And I was like,
I know you called me
this
on it.
is the perfect time to do it. You have nothing holding you back. You
Correct.
can go anywhere. You can date anyone in the whole country.
Again.
And it was actually limitless. And it was your willingness to step into that unknown
Mhm.
that helped you find Scott. And he's amazing and he's incredible. And I'm happy to have played any small part in it.
Oh, massive part. You kicked my ass. And you reflected back my blind spot. Yeah. This is actually, from one point of view, there's everything wrong about it, but you said, no, from another point of view, everything's right about it. And yeah, I went for it, and I'm so grateful that you got to meet him. Um, and we got to express our gratitude for you inspiring me to meet him. So thank you
Yeah, and
so
your
much.
relationship has inspired me so much, and I think has shown us all really how to, as a powerful woman,
Mm,
receive receive the help of a man in a really gracious and honoring of him way. And I think you've modeled that for me at a
mm,
really important time.
uh,
Um, and it's been really beautiful to watch and, to know that you've gone through it. And it hasn't been easy. And I think to admit, it's not always easy to receive it, even
mm,
though we may have wanted it, we may have cried for it, we may have begged
mm,
for it, all
yeah,
those things. That doesn't make it any easier when you actually have it
yeah,
to believe that you deserve it and believe
mm,
that, you're worthy of it. And I think you've shown us that, maybe you have moments of doubt, but then you get out of them.
I just I just do the work. I just do the work all the time. Whatever comes up, I feel it, I integrate it, and I allow it to show me, the greater path home. Yeah.
Mhm.
Um, I feel like somehow little you, when that connection is there, for me anyways, I can let go of control. I can surrender. Um, I think I'd like to complete on that because I've really watched a transformation in you from needing to be in control so that you had the illusion that you'd never get hurt, um, more in your head, brilliant woman, into this more feminine energy, feeling your feelings, and truly surrendering to a place of like, I'm going to show up and ask for it, but I don't need to know how. I'm okay with the unknown. I can surrender. Um, yeah. How did the little you process or any of the other processes support you in getting to where you are right now regarding surrender?
I think just knowing, really building like the self-trust and that I can and will leave a scenario that's not good. And I think there's
Yeah.
freedom in knowing that,
Hmm.
because it allows you to step through more doors. You don't have to be so sure about it before you
Yeah.
decide to let yourself feel a feeling. I think it's like, let
Yeah.
me feel the feeling. Let's see how it is. I don't want to deny myself the joy of this, even if it might end tomorrow. Why
Mm,
why steal the grief of tomorrow? Let me enjoy it now. So I
yeah.
think there's that. And the other thing I'll say is I had a really interesting experience with Lil You the other day. I'd gone into a meditation. I was like not in a great place, like feeling
Uh-huh.
triggered, just kind of in my head about like, what do I need to do to get out of it? Like
Mm,
strategizing a little bit. And
mm.
when I dropped in and I saw Little You, she was like, shut up and play. And she was so happy. She was like look at what you're getting in the way of. Just
Ah,
shut up and like play with me. And I was like, okay, I want to be in that energy, you know?
yeah, yeah.
So like really honoring the part of me that was like making a big deal about something that actually just does not need to be. And sitting with her and she's like, everything is actually totally fine. So just be here.
Mm. This is a great point to complete on around little you. It's not always us supporting little you and feeling better. Little you is wise. Little you understands the score. It's all very clear. And sometimes we need little you to be in charge. Yeah, to lead
Exactly.
the way, to wake us up, to bring us home.
Exactly.
Yeah, I love this. Uh, any women or men or couples considering doing this work, what would you say to them?
I would say it's the bravest thing you're going to do in your whole life.
Yeah.
And it is the best investment I've ever made. And I
Mm,
think what I have found is that I'm very protective of that investment now. So I'm
mm,
not going to let anybody who's not on my level of
mhm,
consciousness and awareness and
mm,
intention
mm.
be in my space. There's no room for that anymore.
Yes.
And so
Yes.
it really elevates not only yourself, but your circle and the people
Yeah.
that you want to have support
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. It's beautiful. You literally energetically can't exist with people that aren't on your level of consciousness and willingness to ascend. They just can't. It's not that they can't keep up. They can't be. It just doesn't work. You energetically repel them with hopefully grace, but it just doesn't work. So your life will undoubtedly up level. And sometimes there are tough conversations to have, and sometimes it's easy and they fall away with grace. But either way, for me, no regrets. Yeah.
No regrets. Yeah. And I think don't
Yeah.
be afraid of that. I think you're
Yeah.
entering this work because deep down there's something that you want to change or you want to shift and
Yeah.
be willing to welcome that when it arrives.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Next year it's Charleston in March. So I'm
Oh,
going to see you with your, when does the award happen? What month does the award ceremony happen for the? Okay, well, let's just pretend it's happened. I don't know, or it's gonna happen. We're all celebrating you, and you're with your beloved, and you're one of the new couples, learning from the ones who renewed their vows, the ones who revived, the ones who are newly engaged. Scott and I, a bunch of other wonderful singles that are learning from you, all the things. So I'm just going to envision that. And I appreciate you, appreciate the contribution you are to the community, how good you are to everybody in the community, how vulnerable you are. Every single call, Sam, you make it better. You really do. There's a presence you bring as well. Like you don't just, you're not distracted. Like you're all in, and it's just your presence is a gift, let
thank
alone
you.
all
And
the
you are the second person in 24 hours to say that exact phrase to me.
seriously.
Thank you.
Your new boss?
No,
Oh, okay. So okay, I won't ask who it is, but that's really you're welcome. Good. I'm glad. So you're really getting the gift that you are just by being you.
yeah, and I think that's actually an important lesson and something I've stepped into recently, which is that my needs are not a burden. It's
Mm.
actually a gift to me and to others. And I'm now hearing it in the 3D back to me, which is just proof that the work works.
Oh my God, this is so good. Stunning. All right, I love you. I love
I
you
love
so
you.
much. Yeah. Thank you all for witnessing this conversation between girlfriends. Even though I'm your coach and you're my client, you're my family. And thank you for the blessing you are to this incredible community that you uplift with your energy and your presence and your radiance and your bravery. And so anyone out there that is like, okay, maybe she's not that crazy, I'll give her a call. I encourage you on our website, my name, allanapratt.com. You go to this intimacy breakthrough experience and you can register and we can talk about what's really going on and what really matters and what's really possible. So thank you, sister, for sharing your journey with us today. And thank you all who have been watching Intimate Conversations, Season 12, Become the One. Thank you for the honor and gift of allowing me to love the shit out of you. Until next time, all my love.
See you next week on Intimate Conversations. Get out there and make love to life.
Muffin and I were just having a moment. Oh my God. I was talking with my boyfriend this morning and he was showing me, I think it was a meme or something that Joe Rogan had done about how hot it is in his sauna or how cold it is in his cold plunge. So I've started to go to cryo, I go into the cold chamber, I do the LED bed, I do the sauna. It was up to like 171. Apparently Joe Rogan goes up to like 200 or something. We have a cold plunge here at the house and we procrastinate quite well. We make a lot of jokes of like, should we rearrange the cutlery? I'm like, no, let's do the cold plunge. But we're so committed. My boyfriend Scott and I were so committed to being healthy. And so, you know, he has his magic mind now. Before his show, he's a front man of a band, Groove Kitty. So, right, Kitty? He's Groove Kitty. Yes. And so he'll always have his magic mind. He's like, you know, you're right. The energy is sustainable and focused. And I remember my songs, and it's, you know, it's got all sorts of good shit in it. So it helps his immune system and all the rest of it. So I do my magic mind in the morning. It's my ritual. And now he's brought it on to his playing music and practicing and jamming with the guys and the gals. So I wanted you to be sure that if health and well-being is something that's important to you, I want you to check out the code. There's a code for, you could get, I believe it's half off with a subscription or 20% off with a one-time purchase of this. Because all the different things that I do are so that I can be present and my best self for myself, for my clients, for my man. And so as you just were listening to Samantha, you know, she's taking actions for her best life. This is the people I hang out with. This is how we roll. We slow down. We go to retreats. We go to coaching. We do our meditation. She has, you know, the little you work from me, but she also goes beyond me and has other coaches and other practitioners that support her in meditations with little you. And it all builds on itself. You know, she goes to yoga. She's healthy too. She's also probably 20 years younger than me, but it's all good. We, you know, it's never too late to start taking great care of your body, your heart, your soul, your life, your relationships. So, I don't normally end podcasts like this, but she's single, guys. She's extraordinary. She's not going to be interested in you unless you also do the work, of course. So, and I'm not a matchmaker, but you know how to fill out the contact form at allanapratt.com. So, if you, I mean, I don't know, why not? Let's see if her beloved is actually watching this podcast. And regardless, let's all send her positive energy that she will find, meet, be claimed by the love of her life because she's doing the work and she's ready. And if you are like, okay, I want the transformations that Samantha has had, I want to contact Allana, let's talk about this, you can go to my site and sign up for an intimacy breakthrough experience with me. And also look in the show notes because there will be a scholarship for those who listen to Intimate Conversations. So you can have that call with me at a discount. You can use a scholarship code. I'm just so grateful to feel pretty damn good for 54. Super duper proud of my incredible clients and grateful for the evolution of my business that just keeps growing as my clients grow, as I grow, as we all grow together. Thank you for the honor of letting me love the shit out of you, right, Miss Muffin? Oh, I'm so glad you're still with me after 18 years as well, my sweet. Yes, we love you.